So, since I had my lovely sister here to talk and help me through this process, I'm going to also read to you all and we're going to establish some steps for the conflict resolution process that helps supports the conflict theory. And the first step is to clarify what the disagreement is. And by doing this, you're clarifying involves getting to the heart of the conflict, whatever the problem is, whatever the situation is. As we stated with our friendships and what we went through with our friends, we can get to the heart of it by establishing goals, to get to both sides to agree on, whatever the issue was, so we can, have an understanding about it. And to do this, we need to discuss what needs are not being met on both sides of the conflict and ensuring a mutual understanding, which I stated before with her. And during the process, we need to obtain as much information as possible on each side's point of view. We can continue asking questions until we are certain that all, parties, family, friends, that are involved understands what is going on and how the other person feels. The second step would be to establish a common goal for both parties. In this step, both sides agree on the desired outcome of the conflict. When people know that they're working towards the same goal, then they're more apt to participate truthfully to make sure that they react to end the goal together. And to accomplish this, we will discuss what each party would like to see happen and find a commonality in both sides as a starting point for a shared outcome. That commonality can be as simple as both sides wants to end the conflict, which in the beginning that's what we wanted to do anyway, was end the conflict and talk about it, talk it through to make sure we all have understanding, we all agree on what the problem is and what we need to fix. A third point would be to discuss ways to meet the goal. This involves listening, communicating, and brainstorming together. We have to continue with both sides working together to discuss ways that we can meet, what we have all agreed on, like fixing the situation. And we keep going until all of the options are exhausted. The fourth step would be determining the barriers to the common goal. In this step of the process, the two parties acknowledge what has brought them into the conflict and talk about what problems may prevent a resolution. Understanding the possible problems that may be encountered along the way lets you proactively find solutions and have plans in place to handle the issues. Define what can and cannot be changed about the situation. If you see there is something that you can't change about the situation, then you have to learn to, understand it and grow from it. But if there's a situation where you see that situation can be worked on and you both can, agree upon it, that, y'all both can work on it together, then that's great. We found a common goal that we can both work on together and have success. So, from the items that can be changed, we discuss ways of getting around these problems to where we just can't see ourselves working it out and we find a way to make it work. The fifth step would be agree on the best ways to resolve the conflict. Both parties, families, friends, co-workers, need to come to a conclusion on the best resolution. Start by identifying solutions that both sides can live with. Ask both sides to see where there is a common ground. Then start to discuss the responsibility each party has in maintaining the solution. It's also important to use this opportunity to get to the root cause to ensure this conflict will not come up again. a lot of times when we are trying to fix the problems, we get so caught up in fixing it that we get so caught up in fixing it that we need to not identify what we need to so that it doesn't happen. But like I stated with me and my friend's situation, I brought up the issue several times, but it's like she wasn't, I felt like she understood, but like I said, in the end, she didn't understand because she continued to do the same thing over and over. So we do have to find common ground and resolution and make sure we understand each other and what point we're trying to get to so that there won't be any problems and so we won't have to repeat ourselves again. And I'm glad that we did come to that point to where we did find a resolution and we were able to talk through our problems, and she's really working on our friendship. She said she wanted to work and she's showing me that she wanted to work. So it has to be also where you see the progress and see that that person is trying to do their best to make the situation better. And the last sixth step is acknowledge the agreed upon solution and determine the responsibilities each party has in a resolution. So both sides need to own their responsibility in the resolution of the conflict and express aloud what they have agreed to. After both parties have acknowledged a win-win situation, ask both parties to use the phrase such as I agree to and I acknowledge that I have responsibility for such and such. And I feel like that's what we both did. We agreed. And I didn't even read and research any of this information before, until now, about me and her situation. And it has really been helpful for me to explain about the conflict theory because I had a great example from my sister and from myself with the friendship that I had to go through and the problems that I faced. And just by me and her, having that problem and that situation to happen, it was helpful because me and her did agree upon us working on our friendship and, send a schedule where we both can meet up. We know each other's schedule as to where, when we can meet up this week, this day, this time, so we can, actually talk, have conversation, and catch up with one another so the other one doesn't feel that they're still friends and they're not being left out. And it's really helped us. So I'm really happy about that. And I hope that this was helpful to everyone. And I hope that it can also help within you all's conflict situations that you may be having with your family, friends, co-workers, anyone with any situation. I hope this was helpful. And there's so much more information out there to help also with conflict theory and a lot of different more theories. And I'm sure there are many different examples that you all can give also with conflict theory. So underneath, just, tell me some maybe a different situation that you all had with a conflict theory in you all's family or with friends or something. And how did y'all go about that situation and handling that situation?